Hey guys, welcome to episode 2. Today we got a lot of the cards in order to get the tier 1 and tier 2 and some basic stuff going. So this will be the home of the mega factory in the future, but in order to get the mega factory ready, we need the reinforced plates for the extra speed on the logistics bolts, and we're also going to need the rotors in terms of that to set up the coal factory so that we can actually get a sufficient power so we don't have to run around harvesting foliage all the time. So let's go complete the tier 1, then we'll look at setting up some new base foundations over here in the top for the new base in terms of the reinforced plates and the rotors. And then we'll actually start working on the research in terms of the MAM for the overclocking and underclocking so that we can make all the buildings work nicely. And then we'll work on finally placement of the space elevator. So let's jump in, let's get started. Okay, so let's hand in and let's do our first one. So we're going to need the plates, we're going to need the rods. Let's go and grab those. So if like me, you've had the base running for like 1 or 2 hours, you should have quite a lot of materials that have built up from the automation, which is awesome. So that's what this is about, is literally setting up the shop so that we can get all the items that we need to start unlocking and getting everything ready in anticipation for the bigger builds. Cool, so let's hand that in and let's listen to Ada.
Milestone reached. Several new structures are now available for improving factory organization. Foundations provide a building grid, which makes it easier to manage placement of any structure. In the event that you are experiencing amnesia for all events prior to planetfall, be reassured that memories of beloved humans and/or animals would have only been distractions from your important mission.
Distractions. Good old fix-it. Cool, so we got the foundations unlocked, so we got to wait for that pod to return. So while we wait for that pod to return, what we can do is we can start sort of looking at where we're going to go. So up here on the hill, we've got a couple of resources, and if I just scan for those quick, you'll see that there's going to be 4 iron nodes. 2 roughly there, and 2 roughly there. And those are the ones that we're going to go set up the 2 bases for the reinforced. There they are pinging now. So that's going to be for the reinforced, and that's going to be for the rotor. Doesn't really matter, we can switch it around when we get there. So we're going to need the base foundations for that, which is why we did the research for that, because it's really nice in terms of building. So if you look here, here's the base foundations, and you can place them wherever you want. If obviously will come through and delete it. But now if you go through and click the foundation, you'll see if you hold control, it actually snaps to what they call the world grid. So you want to use this across your world, because if you build a factory way down there, build a factory there, build a factory here, you want it to be on the same grid structure so that you can link them. You don't want a situation where you get them overlaying each other. So for example, I can place this here like that, and let's pretend this factory is way down there. And now you want to link these up. You'll see because I didn't use the world grid, it's not matching up nicely. So that becomes a problem or an issue for players later on. Cool, so now the pod's returned. Let's go and do the next objective. And slowly but surely we're going to do all the ones for tier 1 and tier 2. So let's see what's next in the tier 1. Logistics. Okay, so this helps us do our base splitting. So we went through the base building. This is the base splitting, so splitters and mergers. Those become really useful in terms of what you're going to be doing for the bases. So if we just have a quick look here at these resource nodes. Listen to Ada first.
Reached. Conveyor belts can now merge, split, and lift to save space and enhance the productivity of your factory. Fixit encourages you to consider investing in verticality when it comes to factory logistics. If you feel stressed by this complexity, imagine yourself on the shore of a vast and calm ocean. Breathe in. Visualize all the people relying on you. The sea is made of billions of faces, each staring at you with hope and tears in their eyes. Breathe out. Feel refreshed and focused on your duties.
That's dramatic. Okay, so what it basically means is the splitters and mergers, we can actually take these lines and we can split and merge them. So you'll see here, this one's producing at 60 per minute, and this one's actually taking at 30 per minute. So what we could do is we could then put down a splitter between this one, so we could do that. We could then have a second line over here in terms of the smelter. And this line feeding into this, splitting between that one and that one, would then allow that one to accept 30 and that one to accept 30, thus making this optimum. At the moment, this is just stop and starting, which is why it's at 50% efficiency. because we could double up the production there, just like I mentioned. So that's what we did now in terms of that, and we're going to be using that predominantly across the factory and the world for the build. So what we're going to do now is let's look at the next thing, what we need in terms of the handed. Okay, so we're just waiting for the pod to return. So we definitely want to do the MAM research, and that also unlocks some inventory slots for us. So let's go and get those materials or what we need. Cool, so we just need the copper wire. Again, it's so nice that this has just been building up, guys. Now we can just do the hand-ins and get everything ready. Cool, so we're just going to wait for that pod to return, and then we can do the hand-in. What I wanted to show you is let's just run around quick while we wait for that. And you'll see that one over there is producing at 60. And all of these nodes have different rates at which they produce. You won't believe it, but every single one of these nodes in this area of the map that I've picked are all normal, which means that they're all producing at 60 with a base miner. So it's really nice to start with in this side of the world because you don't have to worry too much about the variances between the different nodes. Some nodes have higher quality that are pure, and some are worse quality which are impure, and it all affects the rate at which the miners actually produce items. So having something consistent like this, especially for newer players starting the game for 1.0, it's really nice to start in this location because everything's quite consistent. When you get later on in different parts of the map, there's lots of different other resources at different rates that you have to take into account. So at least know that all of these are 60, which means most of these nodes we can actually have 2 smelters and 1 splitter between them, and that'll make it 100% efficient. But later on you can upgrade these. So this miner MK1, you can get an MK2, MK3, and that's all unlocked through doing the different types of research that you can get. So let's have a quick look while we're waiting still of the biomass. We can actually do a little top up. I think we're getting a bit low on some of those materials, but not a problem, especially when we unlock the chainsaw, which is what we're going to do in terms of the obstacle clearing once we finish all these research for tier 1. Then it becomes nice because you can just chop down the trees, get wood, and then we can also automate that as well in terms of not chopping down the trees, but at least feeding into these biomasses. Technically I could do it now actually. We can actually do that when the pod sets off, and I don't have to do it by hand. Okay, so the space elevator is now returned, unlocked the nest objective. So let's do our final hand-in for tier 1. We can mark that off as completed. And again, we can just listen to what Ada says.
Milestone reached. Supply the molecular analysis machine, referred to as the MAM, with local resources to research and develop new technologies. Potential technologies include exploration tools, weapons, and factory buildings. These are essential for maximizing your Pioneer efficiency and alignment with Fixit's core pillars: construct, automate, explore, and exploit. To advance Fixit's mission, all notable phenomena, resources, technology, or other influence should be investigated regardless of any perceived danger, as stated in the Pioneer contract.
Nice contract. Okay, cool. So all that we're doing now is I'm just putting up a little foundation here temporarily that we can use. And that's going to be just to feed items into our storage or into our biomass, so we don't have to do it by hand anymore. So now what we can do is the storage that we're using inside to use for the biomass. Let's just go and grab that. And we can just go throw that into this bin, and this is just going to feed along here. And then you'll see how the splitter works. So this obviously then just drives through these materials into here. It'll split evenly between these two. So if this belt is at 60, this one's going to be 30, and this one's going to be 30, and then it's going to fill these machines accordingly. And you'll see these biomass converters only take 10, so that's fine. So we can technically have 6 of these with this setup, and then it'll split 10, 10, 10, 10, 10 eventually after load balancing. Cool, so that's the first tier done. Let's just go and see what we've done. Yeah, we've done all of those. So let's mark that off as complete. Okay. So the next one is we're going to do the new base foundations, and we'll do that in between doing some of the T2 research. So let's start off with the obstacle clearing, so we can go chop down some trees. And again, we've got all the mass that we need for that, so we can do a hand-in 1 minute as soon as that's ready. So I'm just going to let that pass, and then we can do the hand-in. Okay, so the pod's coming into land, and we can do the obstacle clearing section. Great, so let's hand that in now. Okay, so we're a couple of screws short. Let's just go grab some more. And this is going to unlock the chainsaw for us, so we can go chop down some trees, which would be awesome for biomass. So again, just listen to what Ada says about it.
Milestone reached. Solid biofuel, created from any biomass, ensures maximum efficiency of biomass burners. To aid in biofuel production, the chainsaw allows for the removal of tougher wood and coral foliage. Additionally, your pocket dimension has been inflated to increase inventory size. Inspirational note: will you be the Fix-It Employee of the Month? You could be if you construct, automate, explore and exploit by eliminating all obstacles to efficiency. This isn't just fun, it's contractually mandated, fun.
Fun. Okay, so let's make the chainsaw. And with unlocking the chainsaw, we've also got the ability now, you'll see in our hub, to actually make the leaves and wood into something called biofuel. And that biofuel is really good in terms of burning for the biomass converters. So we're going to essentially use biofuel into them now. And we'll do that conversion once we do our next run. So I'm just building up some biofuels so that we can actually use it in terms of our chainsaw, because that's what it requires. So we can actually now go equip our chainsaw, and you can see it looks mean. Cool, and then we can literally use this to chop down some trees. So we're going to do that in between the next sets of research. So let's have a look. So this is what we're going to need to unlock, and this will give us the ability to build rotors and reinforced plates from the assembler, and we'll need that to start our factory later. So what we can do is, in the meanwhile, let's maybe do the resource sink, because we've got all those materials as well. So we can hand that in as soon as the pod returns. So let's go and we just need a couple more rods. We've got the copper, we've got the concrete, we've got the plates. So yeah, just a little handful of rods. And let's go and chop down some trees while we wait. We can just do these ones next to us here. Cactus, the mine.
The fruit of this fungus-like flora does not seem to show much potential for use. However, its mycelial network is worth further investigation. Research it in the MAM to establish classification and potential application.
The mycelia that we just collected from breaking one of the cactuses there, it's like Ada says, we can actually use that in the MAM research, which we'll head through and start doing more of. But that's not the focus for this, but we will touch on it. And actually, having touched on that, we can also, while we're waiting for the pod to return here, we can actually swing past and go get the slug that's in the canyon on the right here, or the little canyon on the right here, and we can use that to when we actually put down the MAM just now. So let's go and fight this little guy for it, and then we can take the slug, and then we can also do the shard to make it. But that all makes sense just now.
Samples of unknown alien species acquired. Their weaponized plasma is most likely stored as a stable chemical substance in an organ close to their mouth, and only turns volatile when exposed to one of the chemical elements in the air. Research the remains in the MAM to establish classification and potential countermeasures.
Okay, so we've got our slug now, so let's do the hand-in. Cool, and that resource program now gives us the ability to use the item sinks and the awesome shop,
You have been
great.
given access to the anti-waste effort for stress testing of materials on Exoplanet's bonus program, also known as Awesome. Your awesome input allows Fix-It to comprehend our amazing universe more clearly. In appreciation of this, we have generously set up an internal, closed economy with exclusive rewards and currency. Directing parts of varying quantity and complexity into the awesome resource sink will grant Fix-It coupons. These coupons can be redeemed in the Awesome Shop for highly desirable items such as new foundations, walls, factory attachments, cosmetics, parts, and more. Next time you have additional resources, just remember to go that extra kilometer. Go awesome.
Oh, awesome. Cool. So I think it's from the slug
This
ending.
semi-slug,
Yeah.
now dubbed Power Slug, is early in its life cycle and has retained only part of its potential energy storage capacity, giving it its blue color. Power slugs are capable of extracting latent energy from their surroundings, including through a form of photosynthesis, and preserve it in their porous semi-crystalline shell over their lifetime. This explains why they rarely move after having found a suitable location.
Yeah, so what we've done now is we've taken the slug, we've converted it into our power shard, and those power shards are used to underclock and overclock buildings. So again, you can just listen to what Ada says about it, and then I'll show you a little explanation of what we're going to do.
Overclocking development completed. Power shards can now be inserted into all buildings to increase input and output speed. Underclocking is also possible. Note: power consumption of overclocked buildings increases exponentially.
Cool, so now we've actually done the overclocking research, so we can move that off the old to-do list. And I'm just going to show you quickly what's happening and what we can do now. Is this produces at 30 iron per minute, but this is actually producing at 60. So you can see we're running at 50% efficiency because only half of it's being used. So what we can do is we can underclock this now to produce at 30 per minute, thus making this 100% efficient. Now what that's going to do is on this network, currently it's doing this massive jagged. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through to all these machines and make sure that everything's running smooth, and then we can do the upgrades later in terms of adding on the additional machines. So let me do that, but I'll take you on a little tour. It'll just be a little quick. We'll go around doing that optimization. Okay guys, and now we've finished that. So what happens now is if we go and look at our pole, you'll see that everything should be load balanced and we're not going to have any more spikes. So everything's now working at 100% efficiency in our factory, which is looking great. Cool, so let's go and look at the research now, what we can do next. Okay, so we got the part assembly, jump pads, and the logistics. Now, jump pads requires the rotor, and the logistics requires the reinforced, and both of those are unlocked from the part assembly. So this shows that you get the rotor, but trust me, you also get that, and you'll see we also unlock the next item for the copper sheet. So let's do the research for the parts assembly and hand those in, and that's going to give us the ability to make assemblers and those additional parts. So let's go and get the rods we need. Let's go and get the screws. Okay, and then we can do that hand in. Cool. Let's listen to what she says.
Milestone reached. The assembler can produce more complex parts, including the first project part, smart plating, which is crucial for initiating project assembly. Project parts must be delivered to the space elevator. By completing your contracted duties as part of project assembly, you will definitely be helping achieve Fix-It Company goals without any other ulterior motive. Note: humans cannot craft project parts. Do not worry about your inadequate crafting skill when compared to an assembler. Fix-It cherishes your innate human abilities, such as walking, striking objects, and commodifying natural resources.
Your human ability. I love Ada. She's quality. Okay, so what I'm doing now, guys, is I'm just fleshing out this platform here with our resources. And what we're going to do is we're going to set up a temporary little base here just for the space elevator. So let's go through to the space elevator, click the little plus here and see what we're missing. Okay, so we need to get some copper, so it's going to do that. And then you can see how that smart plating pulls into the equation here. So let's get those. Go to the rods. Plates. Okay, and now we can build the space elevator. So we've got everything we need. Great. And we need a lot of space. You'll see it's a massive building. So let's look at doing this over here. Go to our space elevator. We'll have it over here. For now. We can always move it later. Look at this. Okay, and because now we've built that building, you'll see in the top right, we've actually got the first phase's objective for the smart plating. And that's also produced from the assemblers. So this is just going to link... Oh, it's Bob. This is just going to link here to the mothership, I presume. So we can send up the resources. And the first requirement is obviously sending up that smart plating. So we're going to ultimately work towards that. And that's where it's going to come in part for the mega factory. But that'll be in a later episode where we can start setting up those more complex parts. For now, let's just get all the basics and some research done to unlock that full potential. Okay, and then once you've essentially loaded up into this building, you'll see on the right hand side or the left hand side they've actually got inputs. That's where you'll put the item, and you come here, use the handle, and then send it off into space.
Project assembly initialized. Congratulations, Pioneer. The space elevator will now automatically connect with the Project Assembly orbital platform. Project assembly is divided into phases, each of which require the delivery of project parts, such as smart plating, via the space elevator. Subsequent phases unlock access to new tiers with more advanced technologies to construct, automate, explore and exploit. It is time to be honest. This project is part of the Save the Day program, the largest united undertaking in human history, destined to save us all. Earth is in peril and only Fix-It pioneers offer hope for survival. Fix-It is counting on you. Humanity is counting on you. Do not let Fix-It down.
No pressure. Okay, don't let them down, guys. Don't let them down. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm just getting a whole lot of materials that we can use to go and set up our new base foundations. You'll also see that I've unlocked, or I've ticked off the space elevator off the old to-do list. So the next thing on this list is going to be either of these, but like I said, we need the reinforced and we need the rotor. So let's go and set that up. And in order to do that, we're going to need to run power to the second base. So currently this is our only base. We're now actually going to run power all the way up the hill there, and then we can get going. So let me grab a power pole. I'll put it on here for now. We'll just link directly from this one to any of these, because this is all temporary for now. Here you go. Now this one's going to carry all the power that we need, so, and you can see, nice and efficient. So we're going to head up all the way there. So let me hit some turbo, and you can join me at the top. Okay, now that all the basics are laid out, guys, let's actually start just removing some of the tops of these. So let's just free up some space here. And then we can just come and clear these off. And we want to clear these off so that we can actually have space for our miners. And then we'll chat about the build. So the two different assemblers that we're going to be placing over here. This one's going to be one this side for the rotor. And then we can have one the other side for the reinforced plate. And those are going to require two different inputs. So if we just have a quick look at the assembler, you'll see that it's got two inputs for the reinforced. And it also needs two inputs for the rotors. So what we're going to do is we're going to have these two nodes that are going to be used for the rotor. And then on that side over there, you'll see we got two more where I placed the poles there. Those two, we're going to use those for the reinforced. So let's have a check quickly to see. I think these are actually pure nodes, so that they're going to be producing quite a lot. So yeah, that one's a pure. So if you remember, the other miners that we've placed down that side actually have 60 as the max. These ones will have 120 as a max. So let me just free up some space here. Actually, let me lay down some more foundations first, and then we can get those on top of these. So let's just do that. That's looking good. Let's maybe bring this in a bit. Okay, so that's all linked up. So this is going to be our first platform. So let's have a check now. Let's get the portable miners linked up. Yes, we need two of those. Okay, then let's put down a miner. So if we go to our production, just smash one over here for now. You'll see this is going to be running at 120. So the other ones that we have are running at 60. These ones obviously run at 120. Okay, and if you remember, each smelter does 30. So essentially what we can do is we can have this into two different splitters, or we can load or manifold it, and I'll explain that just now. And we can actually have 4 smelters on this one and 4 smelters on that one. So now it becomes a question of doing the math, right? So if we just look at the assembly here, and in order to produce rotors, we need iron rods coming in at 20 and screws coming in at 100. So what we can do is we can just get this going at an easy 4, or we could use this full bolt max. For now, I'm just happy to get it coming in at the 4 min. So let's see what we need. We need 20 iron and we need 100 screws. So if we look at this one, we look at this one, the screws. So we're going to need 2.5 of these. That'll be 100. So if we take this one, that's 40, that's 80. And if we underclock this one down to 50%, that's going to be 100 screws. So that's perfect. So then that'll meet the criteria for this side in terms of the 100 screws. Then we need 20 rods. So if we look at the constructor again and we look at the rods, that's going to be putting out 15. So if we underclock this, let's say to 10, and we have another one that's also underclocked to 10. That means that we need 10 iron ingots there and 10 iron ingots there. That's going to produce our 20 rods, which is going to be perfect in terms of that. So that's really easy to get, obviously 20 iron. Then in terms of this side, this is going to be screws, screws, and screws. Now the only problem with this being is that you'll see that this requires 100, and the issue being is that we only have a belt that can do 60, so we actually need to upgrade that. So what we can temporarily do is we can just decrease this, and if we push this down to 60, we're going to get our required amount. So that'll be the belt max. So let's rather work on a 60 max and a 12. So that's what we're going to do in terms of setting it up. So to get 12 here, it means that we can literally delete this one, and then we can underclock this to just 12, and then we only need 12 iron ingots, so that's going to be really easy to achieve on that side. Then in terms of the 60 screws, we only need 40 plus another one, so this one's going to be halved, so we're going to get to our 60 really easily. So we can delete these two, And then that's going to be from the other belt, and that's going to require 5 and 10, so it needs 15 rods. And this, luckily enough, produces exactly 15 rods, but we only need 15 iron ingots. So we can soup up this area a lot more, but we're not worried about the optimization just yet. We'll do that when we start bringing the materials over for the mega factory. We just want to get this going and producing. So essentially what we need is we just need one smelter in front of this one, one smelter in front of this one. Okay, let's bring down the power here. Don't like how that's connected. Let's swing it around. Okay, so we're going to get that to make iron. And this one will also get to make iron. Cool. Now what we want to do is we want to use the splitter, and we'll get to that now. So let's see our assembler just to check the quantities. So again, we're going to be using this for the rotor, and we're going to underclock this to 60 so that we can hit the bolt max on the screws. So let's make this one make the iron rods alone. So if we just put this down here, we feed this directly into there. This one can make the iron rods, and that's going to come in at 15. And we can underclock this to make it at 10, or is it 12? Let's just check again. Yeah, so this only needs to come in at 12. So let's just go here, we'll set this to 12. And then we need 12 iron ingots per minute. So let's again go through to the smelter. We'll just put this through to 12. And then we also need this coming out at 12 to be 100% efficient. So we could produce 10 times as much items on this network, but we're not worried about that just yet. Cool. Then let's just bring over power to this side. Give a little space for the screws that we're going to be placing here. So let's just do something like this. Okay, that's all linked up. Let's just make this get power. So we can bring that through. Because now this is going to be producing at 12 to produce this, which is going to be great for our rotors. And then the only other thing we need to do now is we need to do the same thing to produce rods. So what we're going to do is we need to produce screws, but those require rods. So we're just going to go in front of this machine. Something like that. And like that. Then we'll just underclock the left machine to be 50% of what it is. So we're now producing 20 from this one and 40 from this one, so that's a combined 60. And then we'll just drop a merger, and I see we actually starting to use these extra logistics that we've unlocked, and then that can just come through to this side, and then we'll link this one. Okay, then this is going to come through at 60 inside. So now we just need to hook these up, and this one needs 10 rods per minute, and this one needs 5 rods per minute. So it's exactly 15. So now what we can do is we can do a splitter between these two, like that. Then we need 15 rods coming in there. So let's put down another constructor. Okay, and this one's going to be making rods, and that makes it 15, and we need 15 iron ingots. So to get 15 iron ingots, what we can do is we can do something like this. Run this into the back of this machine, run this into the back of this machine. Okay, again, we're not too worried about this now. We're just doing it really rough just to get the things unlocked, and then we'll really start working in the factory, making optimum later. Cool, so that's now going to come in at 15, which is great. And now we need to underclock this one to only make it 15 per minute. Cool, so now this is done. That's going to essentially tick over and make our rotors for us. So the only thing we need to do is just to link these up to the different power, so we can get all these machines working. Cool, and then slowly that's going to build up. So you can see our rods are already coming in here, which is great. And then now this is going to slowly start producing the rods that this is going to need. So this will be going through to here. This is going to make the iron ore. This does not have power. It does have power. Oh man, we've already got the smelter. Let's see. That would help. Okay, so that's producing at 15. This is producing at 15. Okay, and then eventually this will sort out the spikes in the network. So from now on, everything should be flat because we've now optimally done everything. But it's just going to take a while to empty some of the stuff that has backlogged. But you'll see it's going to eventually be flatline like this now. Cool, so now this is making 15 rods. Those rods are then split between this machine, 10 this side for 40. And then another 5 this side for 20, which makes a combined 60. And then that's going to build up the rotors. Cool, so let's leave this to do its thing. What we can do for now is we'll just drop down a little storage. And we'll link this up to our storage bin. Cool, and then now we're obviously out of power by the sounds of things. So what we can do is, I'm going to do some turbo, head back to the factory, we can load up this with power, and then we'll come back and we'll do the rest for the reinforced. So let's mark this one off the list of the rotor factories done for now. Cool. I'll get chainsawing. I'll see you guys soon. Okay, so the issue is we actually ran out of materials inside this machine, or these two machines. It looks like all the biomass burners are still getting inputs, although we have actually ran out of material coming in here, so we'll sort that out while we're here too. But that's the reason why, is because these two are not fully automated, and we can't automate them and get them to have parts coming into them. So what I'm going to propose is 1, 2, 3. We've got 3 of those. Let's rip these up. Or let's just, for now, just put another 3 on the other side. But I like it being on a sort of a better sort of grid. So let's do that, and we'll just delete these guys. We'll put them up on the top of the platform, so it makes it look obviously nicer too. So let's just do that. We'll go and get a couple more materials. Just need to put it, because I freed up some space, so that on the way back here, we wouldn't have to worry about getting full inventory from the chainsawing. So let's just grab some of this stuff. Then we can just flesh out on either side of these. And we just want 6 in total. So we've already got the splitters for these. So let's just put that here. Then we can do the same thing on this side. And then let's just link up our power. So we want it like this. Same thing on the other side. In case we need more rods and copper. So let's go grab. Okay, let's link this one up. Okay, and that's all 6. So remember, the belt max is 60, so we just want to put 6 through feeding onto these machines. Cool, the only thing to do now is to link it up, so let's put down a power pole and we'll link them up all together. So we can come clean up this little cluster. And then we'll link this guy up to these. And then this one up to here. Okay, so now this will all feed through. So we just got to go and get those all connected. Put in some biomass. and those will start feeding to the machines, and they'll turn on eventually. But it will come and flip the switch now. And what we can do is we can also automate this now. So because we've now got everything linked up, it's a good time for us to actually make a little wing here in terms of the power. So let's just put this out a little bit. And this now, what we can do, if you remember, this is going to burn the biomass. But what we can also do is we can take this biomass and we can convert it to biofuel. So if we just drop down a constructor. Okay, we just need a couple more cable first. The cable in hand, we can now make the constructor that we need. So let's put this down here. Okay, connect that to the front. And now you'll see we can actually make this into solid biofuel. So again, we don't have 120 coming in sufficiently. But what we can do is we can either make it by hand, because we have unlocked the ability to do that. So it's just such a short section. So we might actually want to do that just for this in terms of that. But yeah, let's just underclock it for now so that we can get it to our normal. And the 30 per minute is going to be fine. It'll eventually backlog. So we got 60 that we need to come in there in terms of biomass. And to make this produce biomass, we can take that from leaves to produce 60. Or we can take it from wood. So what we can do is we can put a little buffer between here, and we can put a storage unit. The storage units will then hold all our biofuel, or all our biomass. The biomass comes into here at 60 per minute on our max belt. It'll then split into 30 and then keep going along these machines. We'll see how much it uses in terms of the solid biofuel. I know it uses 10 in terms of the biomass. We'll see how much it burns when we put actually the fuel in. So let's see if we do this. It produces 4. So that's perfect, because that's going to be 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. So that we well and over the limit as well. So it'll eventually backlog, which is great, because we got 6 machines, and 6 times 4 is 24. So that's cool. So producing 30 is great. It's more than enough to put all these machines. We can actually even add another one, but we're not worried about that just yet. And that'll stockpile into there and feed into those machines. So now let's go and create a merger. So this is to merge the output of the leaves and of the wood. And we can do that here. Like this. Like that. And then what we can do is we can have another storage to capture the leaves output, another storage to capture the wood output. Cool, and those are nicely linked. Okay, then the last thing we want to do is we want to hook up these to actually accept the leaves and to accept the wood. So let's do that. So we just need to have a couple more storage units. Okay, so let's put this one here, this one there. Okay, so in this one on the left we're going to put all our leaves, and this one on the right we're going to put all our wood. We're going to make this one produce wood. And again, that's coming in at 60. That's great, but this will eventually backlog because it's going to be putting out 300. We can only have 60 as a max. So let's convert that to 60. So then that's going to be putting out 60 onto this belt. That's then going to go into here. And then the same thing on this side. Let's go and convert from leaves on this side. Again, we want this to be putting out at 30 because 60 is the belt max. This is going to then produce into 30. So we're going to have 30 coming into this one, 60 coming to this one, and 90 will go into there. But this one will backlog and this one will backlog because obviously this belt is only producing at 60. But that's fine for now. Cool. Then let's just get the power so we can run this, and then all our things are automated. And the only thing we have to do is just come and throw in some leaves and some wood. So let's connect these up. Cool, and then link it to the power. Cool. That's all linked. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to temporarily delete both these connections so we can at least fit the switch here, because otherwise it would trip it, because we had too many machines on the network. But I'm just doing this just to get it started so that these machines can all fill with materials. So now if we go back to the start here, these machines should be kicking on. There they are, connected to power. I'm not too sure why it's not turning on. Oh, we haven't connected our biomass, man. Guess let's do that. Okay, so those are all linked now, so it's going to have power on the network. And you can see we're starting to process. So now this is going to be producing the biofuel. That's going to go into those machines. And when all those machines are on, I'll connect the remaining 2 networks there. That's going to push enough power for the other stuff that we're busy doing. What we could actually do as well is, knowing that the biofuel actually can support, let's see, so if we go 7 times 4, that's 28. And this is producing 30. So let's throw in an extra biofuel one at the end here. I think that'll be great. So we'll just throw that there. Got another biofuel here. Okay, and then we'll connect that up. Cool. So now let's just let these turn on slowly but surely. Yeah, that's coming through. That's eventually going through there. All looking good. Nice. So what I'll do now is I'll temporarily just throw in some of there, so we're producing a whole lot of power here. And then now we can connect the other 2 networks. So let's connect the one that we're busy with building over here for the rotor and the reinforced, and connect to our main network. Cool, so our max consumption on this network is 105.4, and we're producing 210, which is fine. I don't mind coming through and throwing in some more resources, because now everything's linked up. It's going to stockpile nicely, and we don't have to worry about it while filling these 2 bins at the back here. Cool, so now with that done, at least the power is sorted, so we can go back to the other side. So I'm going to shoot over here, and then we can carry on building the reinforced. Yes, let's just clear this out. All we're going to do is, again, we just got to clear off the tops of these mines so we can put down our miners. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to look at the assembly. We can see what we need in terms of the reinforced. And then we can alter the workloads and optimize it just to get the initial factory going. So let's lay some foundations down. Okay, let's just go and get our materials from the storage unit. Empty out what we're not using and don't need in our backpacks. Yeah, that's good. Just had too many materials to put into our backpack, so let's just go and see what we left behind here. A whole lot of those. Let's empty some of that, some of that, and we'll take the rest. Cool. Okay, so now we've got enough to finish the foundation, then we can go look at what the assembly needs. Okay, let's have a look. So we need to obviously make some more miners, because we're going to be making 2 of those, so we can sacrifice 2 bits of materials just to make space. Okay, and let's slap down 2 miners. So we'll have one going this way, and the other one going that way as well. Okay, and let's just fill up the platform. Okay, so let's see. I think these are also pure nodes, if I'm not mistaken. So that's also 120. And this is also 120. So that's great. Let's link these up and start drilling. Okay, so now let's have a look what we need. So if we look at the assembler, we look at the reinforced plate, we need 30 and 60 screws. So that's not going to be a problem. And that's really at the right level for us. So that's great. So we need 30 plate and 60 screws. So let's make this one make the plates. That's fine. So let's have a look here. Put this down. Okay, it's a little too close. Oh, it's because it was on. Okay, I see. It's because I had the different mode on. That's why. So we can connect this guy. Okay, just need a little bit more space here so we can not crammed. And we said this one's going to be for our plates, and if we look at the constructor, we need 30 plates, and the constructor makes 20, so we need 2 of these with 1 at 50%. So we're going to need another smelter actually. So this is the first time we actually need to do some splitting. So let's put a splitter down. And then we'll go get our smelter. So we'll put one on this side, one on that side, go into there, go into there. Okay, so now that's going to send 30 there and 30 there in terms of the smelting. Then if we look at our constructor, we want this one to produce 30 for 20 iron plates, and we can do the same thing over here. And what we'll do is we'll just underclock this one to get it to do 10 more. So that's going to be giving us our 30. Then this machine just needs to be underclocked from 30 to 15, which means we need 45 in total. So we can come back to this and tell this just to produce 45 for now. So 15 will go to the left, 30 will go to the right. So this will be optimized. And then we're just going to link this up. Okay, so now that's going to produce the required plates we need. So let's just put down a little merger here. Link these up. And then that's going to be producing the 30 plates. So if we just put down a storage bin here. That's all good. Now let's link up the power. And we just need for the smelters. Okay, so that's going to be producing perfectly here in terms of that. Now we need to do the same thing in terms of getting our 60 screws. So let's prepare the constructors to also be in line here, which will be quite nice. Okay, so we got those two. We're going to need a splitter between these because this is going to need different rods split between them. So let's do this again. And that's going to be producing screws. This is going to be producing screws, but this one's going to be producing at 50%. So we got 60 screws coming through there. And to get the 60 screws, it's the exact same. We're going to need 15 rods. So again, let's put down a constructor here. That one's going to make the rods for us. So this is producing at 15, which means we need 15 iron ingots. Okay, and then we'll make this come in at 15. And then this machine we can underclock from 120 down to 50. Cool, and then let's just link up all these buildings. And how are we doing on the power situation? Max consumption is 120, 150, so that's looking good as well. So no issues there. And then we still got to slap on our assembler. So let's put this down with another merger. So this is going to be holding the screws that we need. Cool. That's all done. Now we're just going to push those two outputs into an assembler, and we're all ready for our reinforced, which is cool. Okay, so just put down the assembler in the middle, and then link this in there, link that one in there, get this some power, and then tell this to produce the reinforced. Great, so our 30 will come in, our 60 screws are on the way, plates are on the way. Nice. Power issues. Good old power issues. Okay, so we need 130, so maybe we ran out of materials. I don't know why the power actually dipped. Yeah, I don't actually know why. Yeah, well, it's all working now. Cool. So that's just going to build up. So let's get a storage over here so that we can come and collect. And we can just feed that in there. So this is going to slowly build up our reinforced plates, and we need 50 reinforced plate for the next set of hand-ins. But we can mark this one off the old to-do list. So the reinforced is done. The new base foundations, that's what we've been doing and I've been explaining. And then the last thing is just to complete the tier 2. Okay, we've still got an issue with the fuse. Maybe something's wrong with the burners. Let's head down that side and go and have a look. I don't think we would have already ran out of materials, but what I'll do is I'll just chainsaw some extra leaves and stuff on the way, and then we can see what the issue is when we get there. Okay, so the issue is it's trying to load balance everything. So you'll see it's coming through this splitter. It's then putting more of the materials on this side. So this is coming through at 60. It's going 30 on this bolt, 30 on this bolt, 15 on this one, 15 on that one. But obviously it's just taking time to actually go through the setup. So what we can do is let's go through to these. And temporarily what we'll do is we'll just steal some of these biomass that's being produced, which should be fine. We'll then actually load these up into the biomass so that they'll never turn off, and then when they get the new biomass, then it'll be perfect. So let's take this out, put those in, take that out, put those in, rinse and repeat on all of these, and then eventually over time these will be backlogged for the actual solid biofuel. Cool, so that should be good for now, and now this will give it enough time to start backlogging all these machines. Just takes time. That makes sense. Awesome. So I think that's it in terms of the rotors and everything else. The only thing left to do now is just to hand in the phase 2 or the tier 2. So let's have a look at what we need to do that. So there's two things. We need obviously 50 rotors, and we need 50 reinforced. So what I can do is I can also make these by hand. You'll see we can easily make those and do the hand in. But what I'll do is I'll just give it time, and then I'll come back just now and we can do both of these and we can wrap up this episode. Was just thinking as well, while we wait for that to complete, what we can actually do is we can take the hard drives that we've done and we can actually start doing the first initial set of hard drive research from the man. So let's let that scan. That'll take 10 minutes, which I'm sure in that time we'll have quite a lot of stuff built up on the other side. So what I'll do now, I'll go wait by the rotors and the reinforced and then wait for that to back up. We should have enough then information for the hard drive in about 10 minutes, and then I'll come back with the materials. We can check the hard drive and do the hand in. Cool, I'll see you guys just now. Cool, so on my way back to the hub now. As you can see, if you look at our network, it's really running 100% efficiently, which is awesome. So we're making all the materials and the things that we need for the early game, which is great, guys. And bonus is we've actually got enough rotors and reinforced plates to actually do the hand and to finish off the tier. So let's first start off with the bounce pads. So let's hand those in. Just need a couple more plates. Cool, let's send that off. And then while we're waiting for that to send off, it'll be back in 4 minutes. Let's actually go and have a look at what happened with our hard drive research. Here's holding thumbs for cast iron screws. Okay, so it's completed.
Hard drive analysis completed. Alternative recipe selection available in the MAM.
Okay, so we got the choice of inventory slots or bolted. I'm going to try and rescan again. I like this new interface and the new option. Previously, it would only give you 3 options, and you'd then have to choose one of those 3. So at least you get an option of 2 here, and you can rescan. It gives you another 2. So let's see. I'm tempted to take the inventory, but let's try for the cast iron. Yes! Cast iron. Nice. So that allows us to skip the chain from the iron rods, guys. This is a must-have. Love it. Cool. So now that's done, we can actually start the other hard drive research as well. So let's go and get the hard drive. And we can do that next one. Cool, let's see what we get with that. I wouldn't mind some additional inventory space. Inventory space is always welcomed. Let's throw in the things we're not using to free up some space. Cool, then what I'll do now is I'll wait for this to return. But let's see, do we have everything we need? We need a couple more plates. We need rods, so let's go and get some more plates and rods. Cool, and then that'll be ready for the handing. So while we wait for this to come through so we can finish it off, what we'll be looking at in the next episode is actually handing in the smart plating. So we'll actually then create a assembler, and that assembler will then require the parts in order to make that, and we can have a look quickly at what that is. So if we have a look at the smart plating, it requires reinforced and rotor. So that's just going to build up on the hill over there that side, and what we can do is we can bring down another 50 of each, put that into an assembler which we'll literally place right here, and then that can feed into there to unlock the next tier. And once we've unlocked the next tier, we can actually work on the coal. So the whole thing is we want to get to the coal power, because then we can do a coal plant and we'll build that nicely on foundations and set that up and prepare the power for the network. That means we can then rip this all up, and we'll actually start doing the proper foundations and the proper mega factory, and we can start laying down the foundations for that. So next episode will be all about handing in the smart plating. We can then unlock the coal. And then the next episode of that, we'll look at actually taking all of these resources and all of these locations, pulling them up onto our mega factory and starting a mega factory floor and building all the items with 100% efficiency. Cool. Okay, I'm just going to go to the hub. Let's wait for that extra minute. And then, yeah, let's do the hand in. Okay, our pod's about to land. Cool. MK2 Logistics.
Milestone reached. Fixit would like to remind you of your contractual obligation towards efficiency. Recreational use of belts and lifts does not count towards work hours and will put you on the list. Stay efficient, don't disappoint, fix it.
Stay efficient. Cool, so that's unlocked that. So now what we can do is we can tick this off the old to-do list. Tier 2. And that's everything for this episode, guys. So that's perfect. We've achieved a lot. We've done complete the 1, 2. We've done research in the man. We've got our space elevator. We've got some power structure going. Everything's looking bad, but we'll sort that out in the next episodes, or the next 2 episodes. And then, yeah, everything will be good and we can start working on that mega factory. I'm looking forward to it. Cool, guys. Have fun, and I'll see you in the next one.